Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, as you have made it to Friday, folks, it is the weekend, pretty close to it. At least we're going to treat it like that. It's a bye week for Razorback football, so you get a weekend off to not see a loss or a win. Just going to have to wait a little bit. But there's plenty of other things to get into. We'll continue to, of course, discuss the ongoing coaching search because so much has changed in the past day. You know, with this coaching search, I mean, more interviews, more people being named. But I have some fun with that. Talk a little basketball. Some great news today, in case you didn't get a chance to talk or catch Pot at the Palace just about 30 minutes ago. But some good news there for the Razorbacks. I'm sure we'll get into college football, all the good stuff going on in the sports world, and of course, get to your chats. But fellas, it's Friday. How are the vibes here on this Friday?
Pretty good. Hello, everyone, for the third time today. We have like 3 more scheduled for you. Just one of those days, man. We don't run from the grind around here. Okay. And John, you started talking about coaching search, and I was like, what the? Oh, yeah, they're doing that, right? It's basketball day for me. I can't wait to get out there to Bud Walton Arena. I can't wait to get to Goat Lab to preview this thing beforehand. It's going to be an awesome night. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to see these guys in action. And, happy birthday, John, and all that stuff.
Thank you.
Well, yes, happy birthday to John. You only turn 48 once, so you gotta soak it up and you gotta enjoy it while you can. I'm really excited to spend your birthday tonight with you, John. It's gonna be a great celebration. As many 25-cent wings as you want. That is my birthday present to you. But yeah, Curtis, I was just thinking about this. Like sometimes I'm talking, when I talk to people that aren't really as tapped in on the sports world about my job, and oh yeah, it's a busy time of year because this is going on, and oh, this game's going on, so this is a big time of year. And obviously, after a coach fired, that would qualify. But there's also just no shortage of reasons for us to be very busy, which is a blessing. I love being busy, but really there is no time where we're like, oh yeah, nothing's going on and we're not doing anything.
Yeah, it's a day to where it's unique because of how many times you're going to have to see our faces, especially Curtis's. Curtis is going to have us all beat today, but that's okay. It's a great thing. It's a great day, and it's going to be so much fun. Yeah, hanging out at Goat Lab. So come on out tonight, folks. Stream starts at 6 p.m. Got prime time at the Palace starting at 8. 1214 North Garland Avenue. The whole gang's going to be there. Dudley Dawson's going to be there. We got intern Cameron's going to be there. So all the cool people are going to be there. So you better be there as well, especially for 25-cent wings. So yeah, we'll tell you more about that. And it's kind of crazy because, thinking about the coaching search. By the way, I'm not 48. I'm actually Trent Daniel years is because he's the only number 37 I know in the history of any sport of note. So give me a Trent Daniels number. But it's fun because, with the coaching search, and we know we talk about it every day, and we get names get thrown around. We did a members only stream last night. We talked a little bit about it too, but we did at least have some news of an addition to the Razorback coaching staff, right? As we had Bobby Petrino getting to work and trying to add some help that he needs on the defensive side of the ball, especially because we know that was one of those deals to where they probably needed some help. But he added NFL assistant Jay Hayes as Arkansas's defensive line coach. This is according to On3. Chris Lowe is the one who originally reported it. Hayes was with the Bengals for the longest and has coached some top defensive linemen, including Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap. Hayes has also coached in college at Notre Dame and Wisconsin. So you needed some help. It wasn't just like, all right, we'll just promote the GAs and let them go. You knew that Bobby Petrino was probably going to bring in somebody. I guess on the teleconference is when he said, I have somebody in heaven just waiting on the go-ahead. I got somebody. But looks like this at least might be the guy that they were waiting on was Jay Hayes, and you got at least a defensive line coach moving forward.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend I knew who Jay Hayes was before Chris Lowe put that out there, and I looked him up. But, and I saw some people right away. It was like, okay, so why is everybody excited about this? He obviously was unemployed if he got picked up in the middle of the season. Well, what the hell did you expect to happen? Right? Like they're not just going to go poach somebody off of a coaching staff that's playing football right now. So it kind of is what it is. And, given the circumstances there to get somebody with that type of experience and background, I think it's a good thing. I kind of thought they might go the linebacker direction for this, but I know Bobby said he had a couple guys, GAs, younger guys who were helping with them, and also feels like his interim defensive coordinator can really help there. He wants the defensive line and the linebackers, like the whole front seven, to collaborate and come together a little bit more. So they're finding ways to make it work. They needed a body, and they got a body who has done this before and probably knows what he's doing. So I'll take it.
Yeah, you're 100% right. It's not like you were going to just like pluck Bama's D-line coach in the middle of the year. And it's like, oh, yeah, he's going to come on. And like we've been saying all along, you just needed another adult in the room. I mean, the thing I keep thinking about is like, you think about the defensive coaching staff. Obviously, you fire 3 guys. That changes things. There's only like 4 or 5 guys left just to run drills, just to get people lined up. You know, like pregame when you're watching the guys warm up and they split up among corners, safeties, linebackers, D-line. They didn't even have enough coaches to have one coach per group and kind of just blow the whistle and, hey, go. You know, it's like you need that. I think it'll help on game day, you know, because you kind of have to delegate with your coaching staff of getting guys organized. And so this is way more about organization and just kind of having enough bodies and having enough adults in the room to kind of keep these guys all tight. It's not like a thing where it's like, oh, we're bringing in this guy, so that means they're going to be running a 4-2-5. And, oh, if they bring in this guy, they're going to be running a 3-3-5. And, oh, you know, they're like, that there's really not much there. This is just, you just needed someone to come in and kind of be an adult, and that is what Jay Hayes is. So good for him.
Or I was just thinking about, I had my mic off. I had a player's perspective here that
I
you had. Yeah, I was like, man, I was like, I can't hear myself. The player's perspective, though, of like, you know that your coaching staff just went away, and you know you have some of these guys at least that were promoted from within into these spots. But then it's like, all right, we're bringing in this guy that none of y'all have any idea who he is. You've probably never met him before. Yeah, you have no idea what type of coach he is, no kind of coaching style. But here you go, listen to him. I mean, it's got to be a kind of a crazy thing, which I'm not saying that the players won't. I'm not saying that the players won't get involved in it and you know listen to him and everything. But that's just kind of part of the whole chaos of what this thing is. And you know, I feel like with what people may have the reactions to somebody like this getting hired or saying, oh, this is bad, this is good, whatever. My thing is like, listen, you don't really have a whole lot of options here. You don't really have, like you said, Andrew, you just need to sound kind of like adults in the room to be able to help out. And, you know, nobody's going to leave their current spot. Like, oh, I'm a D-line coach at Wisconsin, and now I'm going to just jump in the middle of the season to go be the D-line coach at Arkansas for an interim basis. Like, you're just trying to put together whatever you can. And so, I mean, is this guy going to come in and suddenly the defensive line's just going to blow up and Cam Ball's going to get after it more and Quincy Rhodes is going to just start rushing the quarterback better? No, I don't think so. But I'm sure it's just one of those things of like, hey, man, you're not doing anything. Here's $100,000 if you want to come down here and coach a few games for us at D-line. Boom, there you go. So I assume this will probably be the only hire that they make at this point in time. They may have some other analysts come in or, you know, anybody like that. But you needed some help there. And I think that it's, you know, I just love to be in practice. It'll never happen. I just love to be in practice just to see what the reaction is. And also the connection that Bobby Petrino has with this guy. Because as far as I know, there's not been any like set in stone, like these guys coach together and know each other from way back when. So it also just makes me wonder of like, why this guy among all the other ones as well.
Well, if Bobby Petrino identified him and brought him in here, I'm just going to assume that once he gets his paws on Ian Gifford and Danny Saili, they're going to become the most terrorizing tandem of an interior defensive line in the SEC. I mean, listen, he didn't come to paint. All right. That's the favorite saying around these parts. So no, I'm with you guys. Honestly, you needed to get somebody in here who knew what they were doing. You did that. It's not earth shattering news, but it's good news because you needed. And like you mentioned there, you know, Bobby said on the SEC teleconference, like, yeah, I'm just waiting on the green light so I can make this happen. Well, it didn't take them that long. So I'm glad they didn't drag their feet too long. Hopefully he's there for practice today. And, you know, we'll see if it pays any dividends at all on next Saturday against Tennessee. Probably not, but at least they can, you know, have somebody to do bed checks in the hotel in Knoxville.
Yeah. And like, for me, this is all more about whatever message is coming from the top, and that includes Bobby and, you know, the Chris Wilson, and it includes everybody, but whatever message is coming from the top, you just need the rest of the coaching staff to relay that and to kind of continue setting that tone. And so I don't think Jay is going to come in and be like looking to implement his own things. I think it's going to be like, hey, what is it you're telling these guys? And whatever you're telling them, I'm down to do it. Like, what we're doing, looking in the right place. We're looking, our eyes are in the right spot. That's our focus. All right, cool. I'm doing that. And so I think he'll kind of have some leadership, have some direction there. And you're right. Like, I don't expect it to drastically change the defensive line, but I think it's also interesting that Arkansas, for right now, you know, we can call it an advantage. I know that's probably a stretch, but like, nobody knows what Arkansas is going to do. You know, when Tennessee plays Arkansas next week, they're going to look at film. They're going to look at what Arkansas has done this year. And of course, they know the personnel. they have no idea, and I think that's something that for as long as Arkansas can use that to their advantage, I think that's interesting to me. And I think for someone like Bobby, who is such a psycho about game planning, and of course you're bringing in a veteran guy who's coached at a high level in the college ranks and the NFL ranks, I'm interested in kind of that of like, what can they do creatively, knowing that their opponents have no clue what they're going to run? Is there some type of stunts that they just haven't done at all this year that maybe they think they can perfect and mix in this week? We saw Arkansas be successful against Tennessee last week. I think that's the side of this whole Bobby experiment that I'm kind of the most intrigued by, at least for the time being, is how can they kind of make this an advantage for them? Of course, it's never a good circumstance to have half your coaching staff fired and nobody knows what's going on. Nobody even knows if the team's going to want to play hard. But I think there's at least some cases to be made of like, hey, maybe Arkansas could surprise Tennessee in a few ways. Will that be enough to get you a win in Knoxville? Probably not, but I do think it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and that's all it can be looked at. And like I saw somebody that was again just one person, but it's like, somebody was like, I just don't understand, like, what does this do for us? Like, what does this change? And it's like, you know what? You don't have to look at it everything as far as like groundbreaking major change here. You don't have to look at it where if Bobby Petrino brings in this guy Jay Hayes, and you don't have to look at it as like, well, geez, okay, so what's the impact going to be? Like, how big of a difference is this going to make? What's this going to do for the team? And how it's not really, you don't have to look at it in that lens. Like, not every move is going to be this earth-shattering, mind-blowing, holy crap. What is this going to be better or worse? It's just a matter of you're in this wait and see mode. You're in this holding pattern that you're just trying to, if you want to be hopeful about it, that's fine. If you want to be negative about it, that's fine. But I just think that because people's like intentions are revved up to an 11 on every single little bitty move that happens when it comes to this coaching search, regardless if it has to do with the head coach or an assistant coach or position coach, is like everyone just tries to dive into it and try to break it down, be like, what does this mean? It's like, doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be this massive ordeal where it's just make or break every single time. Sometimes it's just, hey, you added a D-line coach to help out a little bit. Like, it doesn't have to be anything like that. So that's why I'm hoping Razorback fans can kind of maybe dial it down a little bit when it comes to, because I get it, man. You're wanting info. You're wanting it now. You want to know who's getting interviewed right now. And if they're not getting interviewed, you want to know why they're not getting interviewed. It's like this all very intense stuff. It's like, hey, just dial it back a little bit and let's see. Let's see how this goes. I know it's asking a lot, but it's just funny how people were trying to make a mountain out of molehill, not to borrow old Sam Pittman's line, but mountain out of molehill on this. And it's like I looked at it just like, all right, cool, sweet. Let's move on.
Yeah, you're right about everything kind of being over scrutinized and over analyzed, and it's going to continue to be that way for the next several weeks. But I did see that report that came out that all the Walmarts in Arkansas have sold out of magnifying glasses and fine-tooth combs as this coaching search continues to rev up here. It's crazy times out there.
Yeah, this definitely shouldn't change your big picture view of this whole thing of like, oh, well, I wasn't sold on Bobby as head coach, but now that he brought in Jay Hayes, I don't know. And it's like, if you are of the opinion that, hey, this is all going to crash and burn, then it was going to crash and burn anyway. And so I don't think it's going to change that much regardless. I think it's going to be one of those things in 6 weeks we will not remember even happened. Like I don't think we're going to be talking about this forever of like, oh, this is when things turned around, when they got Jay Hayes in here.
Yeah, I think it's just fine. It is what it is. But as far as because I assume that they'll have the press conference on Monday with Petrino at noon, and I assume Bobby will get asked about this particular coach that gets added. And I know we'll react to everything on Monday, but that's kind of the fun thing I think about where we had the introduction press conference with Bobby and Hunter, and then you have, of course, the SEC teleconference, which a lot of that was, there was some of it that was interesting, but a lot of it was just other media members too, kind of getting the scoop of Bobby. On Monday, that's going to be kind of the first press conference where it's like, okay, football now. Like there may be some questions about, what have you been doing, or what's the coaches look like out there, but it's going to be just football driven, and it's going to be about Tennessee prep and everything. So I know that, again, that's a few days away, but I can't wait for Monday's press conference and just to see how it's going to go, how it's going to be handled. And, if we're going to see any other changes, if any players end up, hitting a portal, or if there's any, injury updates, or it's just going to go back to football, which is going to be weird because it's like, we haven't even thought about, I haven't thought about Taylor Green. No offense. I haven't thought about Taylor Green a second the past week. Like, I haven't thought about Mike Washington or Braylon Russell. It just has not even been a thought. And then it's like next Monday and all next week, it's going to be like, oh yeah, this team still has to play football.
Yeah, it's true. Every time we see Bobby Petrino for the next couple months, it's going to feel very surreal. But you're right. Like Monday is going to be the first time that it feels semi-normal again. It's like, oh, okay, back to the routine just a little bit. And yeah, I'm anxious to see what he has to say. I don't know. I don't recall what his how he was about reporting on injuries. I know they've got to do the injury report for the SEC or whatever, but like when he's asked about them, I don't remember if he was forthcoming at all or if he was just kind of like, shut up, don't ask me those questions. But yeah, that'll be interesting because I have to imagine, given the circumstances and like the way all this went down with like the effort issues and all that, and we kind of know how Petrino is wired, I wonder how physical practices have been, because there's to a degree. I know he was very big on, hey, like we don't take the offensive players to the ground. And it was kind of slanted towards keeping those guys healthy and everything. But given the tenor of the situation and you need a little more oomph in your defense there, I wonder if they were getting after it a little bit. So that injury question is going to be important, but I'm also anxious to hear what he has to say about it. Like, oh no, we scrimped, we went live a little bit or something. I wouldn't blame him if they did.
Which they have done in years past. And obviously this is a different situation because you have 2 bye weeks. Back in the day when you only have 1, they would kind of do stuff to be creative with their bye week. But John, you mentioned getting back to football. And I think that mentality and that kind of mindset is very important because one, Bobby, if there's one guy that is probably sick of having all these big picture staff conversations and what's the future that just wants to do football, I'm sure it's Bobby Petrino. But I also think for the players, it has to be a little bit relieving. I think there's a reason why we all had this bye week circled. And obviously we all understand the premise of why firing a coach during the bye week is more ideal than firing him not in a bye week. But I do think that's very important. And so to your point, Curtis, like what they did this week to kind of alleviate that, and you have all this emotion and all these questions on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm sure there's still plenty now. This week was very important to get that mentality back to football. And then when you get to Monday, for all these players and all these coaches, you're probably sick of answering these questions. It's probably going to feel relieving to be like, hey, it's just a normal Monday. We're doing our drills on this thing. We're doing our scout work here. We got an opponent Saturday. Let's just get back to business. And as we know, football players and football coaches are creatures of habit. They live in this week-to-week grind. You're always striving towards something. And so I think given all the circumstances, that's got to feel pretty good for some of these players once you get through this week. And then now you're on to Monday, and it's like, okay, the world didn't end. We're still good. I still have an opportunity to play football. We got a huge opportunity Saturday. Let's focus on that. I think that's going to be a very big, important challenge for this coaching staff is just getting all these guys to buy into that of, hey, let's just get back to football. Let's stop talking about where we're going and who's going to be the coach and who we're hiring and who we're doing what. Let's just worry about beating Tennessee and see if we can find a way to do it.
Is it bad? And I'm not trying to make this as far as like an anti-Pittman thing, but it's just like, I don't think it's almost like the scene from Remember the Titans. It's like these practices, there's not going to be any more fun as far as in the way of, like Hogs Plus going behind the scenes and showing these guys in practices and, hearing the coach. Nope, there's no fun. There's no lightheartedness. And that's not a bad thing. And I'm not saying, oh, it's the best thing. I'm just saying it's going to be different. And you don't have time to mess around, as you were talking about. Like, there's no time. The sense of urgency is now. And so I'm the response. That's what I keep like hoping and hearing about. The response is what's going to be interesting because I talk about the press conference. I know I'm talking about next week, but I assume they're going to have a couple players, right, on Tuesday night like they normally do. So
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I bet you Taylor Green's going to be one of them. Let's just be honest. Like, it's probably going to be Taylor Green and Cam Ball, I would think.
Dalton Wagner. They'll bring Dalton Wagner out of retirement for this one.
That's the park. Yeah, just roll them out there. But that's, I think, as much as I'm looking forward to Bobby's, that's the other thing too is going to be from the players, because that's only thing we have heard a peep from any players is just about their social media posts or pictures being posted or whatever. But it'll be again, if it's Taylor Green and Cam Ball, I'm not going to sit here and complain. But man, who would you like to hear from if you had two players? You could be offense and defense or both. Like, who would be the two players, given how things have gone, that you would want to hear from in that press conference?
I would probably take two guys straight off the defense and just grill them like they're in an interrogation room. What has happened? Why was this the case? Have you figured it out? Any of them, honestly. I would like to hear from Xavier Sori because I mean, this is the dude who, I mean, he was at SEC Media Days repping the Razorbacks, and all SEC type of guy. We all know about the expectations that everybody had for him and why people were so excited about him. Like, if there was one area of the defense that people were comfortable with, it was the linebacker room. And a lot of that was because of him. Didn't have to come back, did come back, and it just hasn't been right. So I would love to hear from him about not only his own personal thing, like, hey, have you been hampered by that injury? What's going on? Was it a focus deal? And then how are you doing now? And what the hell happened? Because you probably need to be the guy to galvanize this defense a little bit. I know Cam Ball takes on that role. But to me, Cam is like, he's almost like Uncle Cam. You know, like he's a nice guy, great personality, gets along with everybody in the room, but you kind of need somebody else to maybe step up in the accountability department. Xavier Sori is the logical answer to do that. But if he's not producing or playing hard or whatever it is, or like Coach Cal said, you can't lead the club from the tub. So if he's been injured and he hasn't been out there, that's a thing too. So he would be the guy on my list that I would want to hear from.
I would take the low-hanging fruit here. For one, I would do the Taylon Green thing and just ask him, hey, what is Bobby's, what's this week in practice been like? How has his role changed? Yada, yada, yada. What's he going to bring to being the head coach? I would also like to give Quincy Rhodes and Cam Ball, or either one of them, an opportunity to issue a retraction and be like, hey, you tweeted out a thumbs down emoji and we're throwing a little fit on Twitter whenever, everything changed. Do you still feel that way? What have been those conversations? What have you talked to Bobby about? Are you still pouting? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I think defense is probably where everybody's mind would go, because like you mentioned, like offense, I don't think much has changed for them because Petrino was running the offense, like maybe some things have, but as far as I know, it's like the offensive staff is still in place. They're still probably going business as usual there, but the defense is the one that's got the major changes. And yeah, I think Xavier Sori would be the one where just because of the struggles that he's had, and you lose your defense coordinator and your linebacker coach, you're a former 5-star, you're going to try to take those next steps. Because if I'm not mistaken, what is his? Is he a junior or senior? Does he still have eligibility left? Xavier Sori?
I want to say he's done.
No, I don't think he has.
Okay, all right. So
last year was his big thing of like coming back for one more year. I think he's a redshirt senior. I could be wrong on this.
Okay, like I said, either way.
Yeah,
he is. Okay, so yeah, that would be something else too. Of like, hey, this is your last shot. Like if you're going to get to that next level, kind of what's going to be your mentality, and asking that to a lot of these players that are in their final year of eligibility. Like, what's their approach going to be? How are they going to handle it? Because there's no transfer portal that they can hop into. It's just a matter of, hey, do the best you can with what you got and how you got it, and hopefully it works out for you.
I would like to hear from Ashton No and Maddox Lassiter. I think those are two guys who this fan base deserves to hear from, that will tell it how it is, and that's my recommendation.
More like Ashton, yes, am I right?
Exactly.
I want to hear from Scott Fountain. I'm serious. I would love to know like what Scott, because Pittman and Scott were boys. Like, I mean, that's his OG, and it's like, you're still on board. You're still coaching special teams, and I know people kind of look at whatever about special teams, but say, I'd want to know what his thoughts are about all this. Is it something he's just, I'm here to do a job? Is it something like, did Petrino tell him, all right, buddy, you just sit over there, I'm coaching special teams as well? Like, I would just be curious of how his approach would be, and how he's handling all of this too. Because he's the only one, as far as I know, the only one that's been with Pittman of any staff, of any GA, of anybody this entire time. So I'm sure it's interesting.
I'll tell you this, it's not going to be a dang it Scott anymore. He's going to have to worry about getting his ass kicked up between his shoulders if they're getting penalties on special teams, whiffing assignments out there. You better watch out getting burned on 50-yard punt fakes and everything else. Nah, man.
Or is he upset because he didn't get the nod? Does he feel like he was snubbed for the head coaching gig?
Imagine starting with Sam Pittman, outlasting Sam Pittman, and not being able to usurp the man. It's tough.
Yeah, that's that is tough scenes for him. But hopefully the special teams end up continuing to be special. Hopefully, Devin Bale's okay. Hopefully, it doesn't get into his psyche. They need all these guys. They need them all. So we'll continue our conversation here on Inside Arkansas Live, but want to remind everybody that here on Inside Arkansas, we're presented by our friends over at SARACEN and the Bet SARACEN app. It's the #1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas, and it's not even close. It's the best around. And the reason it's the best around is because they always have incredible specials to choose from when it comes to Razorback sports, when it comes to college football, when it comes to the NFL. They got it all. You can do parlays, you can do spreads, you got money lines, you got over-unders. It's just incredible. And the app is really easy to use, and it's easy to navigate, and you win big. So download the app today if you haven't already by clicking the link below in our description, or you can also scan that QR code right there on your screen, and it'll take you right to the app. And when you download the app, be sure to use that code Inside AR. That's Inside AR, where you bet $25 and you get $125. It's as simple as that. So again, bet SARACEN, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Click the link below, download the app, use that code Inside AR, and bet $25 and get $125. All right, guys.
I do love how people are arguing or, having an actual debate in the chat right now of whether or not Tennessee will score more or less than 67 points.
They won't quite score 67.
I don't think they're going to score that much. Right?
Well, that's the thing is the defense has been so bad. I just don't see a way that it's so much worse, But at the same time, Tennessee's type of offense, they can not only score a bunch on you, but man, they may be pissed off about what happened last year, take it out on you. They've had a whole bye to prepare for you too. So I'm not saying that they'll not score that many, but I would be shocked. How about this? Would you think that against Tennessee, it'll be like the worst or the most points scored against Arkansas so far this year? You think it'll be that?
I don't think it will be. I think that they're going to maybe play a little bit over their heads early, with just a little bit of renewed, but I think it'll eventually catch up to them. What if Notre Dame scored 56? Is that what it was?
Yeah, they won't.
God, I hope nobody goes over that, man. I hope not. My thought process on this, I know Houston Nutt used to do a thing where he was like, if you hold opponents under 28 or whatever, we feel like we're going to win the game. I'm looking at this going, dude, hold Tennessee under 40, and if your offense is clicking, you give yourself a chance to be in it. I know that sounds crazy, but it just feels like that's the pathway to staying in games and winning games, especially with an offense like Tennessee that's been pretty high powered. They're in their own stadium. They are coming off a bye week also. Like it's a tough ask.
Yeah, I'm with you, John, that I don't think the defense is going to get worse. Honestly, I know that sounds like a joke. It sounds like a thing, but I really don't think they're going to be worse. Let's just assume that the defense is every bit as bad as it's been, and they're just kind of more or less the same. Even in those circumstances, I do think Tennessee would score around 50, honestly, so we would be kind of pushing it. The thing that worries me is matchup-wise. Some of the offenses Arkansas played, Ole Miss, I know, threw the ball a lot, but Memphis ran the ball a good bit. Memphis is not a quick strike, explosive offense, and what they score, 33 or whatever. Memphis is one of those teams that doesn't even try to score 50, and they almost score 50. So it's I think there's something to the quick strike of Tennessee. They're a very high-powered, fast offense when they get rolling. What'd they score on Georgia? Did they score 40 on Georgia?
Yeah, yep. They scored a ton on them. Yeah,
I was going to say the least scoring game that they've had this year has been 41 points, whereas against Georgia, and only 41 points against Mississippi State.
I'll say this. If Arkansas's offense scores a decent amount, if Arkansas's offense scores 30, that would probably be how Tennessee would continue to run their normal offense. But
man, he was about to go with it, but no, that's I think what's the scariest thing about it is if you're Tennessee, that they're known for scoring at a high clip, and you just see that, man. I know that Georgia went. Was it just one overtime they went against Georgia, right? Yeah, it's just one overtime. But even then, it's 41 points against Georgia, 41 points against Mississippi State, and Mississippi State's defense, I don't know how compared to Arkansas's it is. One may be better, one may be worse. I don't know. But it's dude, I can't sit here in good faith say that Tennessee's not going to score 41 or more. I feel like that's going to happen. And if they score less than 41, something happened. Arkansas's defense just truly, a bunch of turnovers. Their starting quarterback got hurt. Maybe Bobby found Jesus and prayed to him a lot. I don't know. Something happened. If that ends up being the case. But I'm also feeling strong, though, about Arkansas's offense against Tennessee because Tennessee does give up a ton of points. So, it's just a matter of kind of trusting the process and the game planning and everything there, too. But
I said that about Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's true. True. No, 100%. But I also go back, and I know it's different teams, but I go back to last year when they played Tennessee. Guys, you remember what was the final? 19-14, right? I think was the final score. Yeah. So But you guys remember, Arkansas should have beaten them like 40-14. They had so many opportunities in the red zone that they screwed up. I think there may have been some missed field goals. Like it felt like the score should have been more. And to me, I know we're going to talk a lot about Tennessee next week, but to me, that's going to be the biggest thing is I think Arkansas is going to put themselves in a position to score. It's just a matter of putting the ball in the end zone. It's going to be just a matter of coming up with it. And if you're not playing on your A game, this sounds cliche too, but if you don't play your best game of the season, Tennessee's going to beat you. It's as simple as that. They're good enough to where they're going to beat you, especially there in Knoxville, knowing that they still have a playoff spot. I guess somebody told me, he's like, man, maybe they'll overlook Arkansas because they got Bama the next game. I was like, okay, well, then that's stupid if they do that. But hey, you got to hope for every advantage you can have if you're a Razorback fan. You just got to hope for it all.
No kidding. Yeah, Tennessee is fifth in the country in explosive plays, like plays over 10 yards. They've got 93 of them so far this season. You know who the four schools ahead of Tennessee are?
Who's that?
Arkansas is one of them.
Arkansas is one of them. Yeah, Arkansas is number 2 with 99.
Baylor.
Who do you think is number 1? Baylor's right behind Tennessee. They're at 6.
Okay, shoot.
What is the most annoying team you could think of to have the most explosive plays in the country?
Missouri.
That's right. 104.
Jeez, yeah, that's tough. I will say Arkansas's offense and their ability to score is a big factor in this. So in terms of what Tennessee's going to do, like if Arkansas, because those games that you mentioned against Georgia, against Mississippi State, Tennessee's offense was always trying.
They were trying, man, twice in a row. But yeah, that's the thing is like, the plays that it's going to be about Tennessee trying to take their spirit away and take their soul away and snatch it from them. But I'm just, I truly believe though, like you don't know what the defense is going to look like. And there's so many different things, but it's just like, man, if Arkansas's defense just actually does respond well to the changes, respond well where they just go out there and do the basic stuff. It sounds cliche. I get it, but man, just do the basic stuff of not being out of position, wrapping up in your tackles. Not saying they'll beat Tennessee, but geez, it just, those little things make all the difference in the world and would have made all the difference in the world in so many of these games. And I think that's what Petrino was talking about. Is like, gotta get back to basics. It's not that we're just this talentless defense that has no players out there with a bunch of walk-ons. It's like, we just don't do the little things right. And that'll cover up a lot of the ineptitudes that this team has. So, man, it would just be nice to see that. And because I don't know, it's going to come down to the defense for Arkansas. If they're going to win, if they're going to have a chance against Tennessee, it's going to have defense has got to make a couple plays here and there, get a couple turnovers here and there.
Yeah, you got to get a turnover or two. Got to get off the field a couple times. I mean, the last 3 games, I mean, how many times have they gotten off the field and not been scored on? Not many. I mean, it's insane. You guys think T. Will and the boys are going to get together and watch, or?
You have to watch, I think, right?
Don't you? I would. I mean, I don't know would you hate watch? I don't know, but I would watch.
I think you also have to be watching, praying that they just get obliterated.
Honestly, yeah, because even if it's fool's gold for one game or something, or if they go out there and look competent, that's a tough sell for the next gig, man.
I used to think about Chad Morris a lot during the 2021 season, where I'm like, he has to just hate Sam Pittman's guts. Because like Sam Pittman was such a lovable, at this point in 2021, Pittman was the most beloved college football figure. And I'm like, Chad has to watch every Arkansas game and just be like screaming at the TV.
Oh yeah, I would think so. Like Pittman's going to be watching it from his house in Lake Hamilton, man. He's going to be watching it. And,
it'll be on the box. It'll be on the quad box. He'll have 4 games up there, and it'll be one of them.
Yeah, I could see that too. It was also, this is just random, but it's kind of crazy you think about it, guys. Like Texas hasn't played an SEC game yet this year. Like that just blows my mind. Like they have yet to play an SEC game this year. And Arkansas and Mississippi State and Florida have only played 1, but Texas has yet to play an SEC game. And that just, again, I was looking at the standings and everything. It's like, good grief. And then Ole Miss is over here. They played 3 already this season. So,
wow. Yeah. 3-0.
Yeah. Getting into the mixes. Yeah. You only have 5 undefeated teams left in the SEC. Ole Miss being 5-0, Missouri 5-0, Vanderbilt 5-0, Oklahoma 4-0, and A&M 4-0. Like we all thought. Ole Miss, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M, undefeated teams. So, but hey, Arkansas controls their own destiny for an SEC title. They go 7-0, 7-1. They're going to be in it. They're going to make it happen. So
we're all Vanderbilt fans this weekend, right?
What's that?
We're all Vandy fans this weekend.
I think so.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Vanderbilt for cashing the over on their win total in October.
It's great work.
I mean, that's one of the by the way, that was a retirement bet that I listed preseason. You can retire in October if you had taken that.
I think Mississippi State, I think they've done that already. Because they're like 3.5.
Yeah. 3.5. Arkansas still needs some help. They I think they were 5.5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that went up. It started at 4.5, and then people bet the over like crazy, and then it got up to 5.5.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's why there's a lot of season left. A lot of season left. I will say that it is a stinky schedule this weekend for the SEC in college football, but we'll talk about that as well as getting to some other things too. But I want to remind everybody, Hickey & Hull Law is the official law firm of us here at Inside Arkansas. Whether it's divorce, custody cases, criminal cases, civil litigation, personal injury, estate planning, they have you covered. They know that divorce and custody cases, especially though, they're far too important to face alone. And they provide you with the persistent and diligent representation to help guide you through the entire process because they have handled thousands of family law cases and have experienced nearly every scenario that has ever come up. And they're going to have that strong attorney and client relationship because it is built on honesty as well as trust. And they pride themselves on building the relationship with their clients, providing honest, principled advice and representation. So if you need any legal help, the place to do it and the place to have represent you is Hickey & Hull Law. You can call them today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. Or you can check out their website, hickeyandhull.com. You can also scan that QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey & Hull Law. Things are about to get better. All right. So, yeah, this weekend of college football, since it's the bye week, I know we'll talk basketball here. Zach, I know a lot of Razorback fans' attention's turned to that for tonight for primetime at the Palace. But it was just really disappointing where I was like, man, bye week, this is going to be nice, not having to watch Razorback game or go to a game and all that. Let's see what's going on. Like, it is a terrible, terrible slate. And I don't know how this happens. I don't know how you can go through the SEC. Like, maybe they thought that Florida and Texas would be a better game than what it was. But it's crazy. Vanderbilt and Alabama is the only one in the SEC that's really worth of note. You got Kentucky and Georgia. Okay. Kent State and Oklahoma. I don't know why that game got scheduled. And is this week 6, I think? It's week 6. You're playing Kent State in week 6. Like, okay. And then you got
Mississippi when you play Michigan in week 2 or whatever.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. And then you got Mississippi State and A&M, which a lot of maroon. But
it's a decent game. Yeah, hard watch from the color standpoint, though, for sure.
Ugly Adidas uniforms. I will say you have a really good ACC game. Miami, Florida State is probably the coolest game of the weekend, all things considered.
Yeah. No, that one will be a great one too. I was going to say about Mississippi State and Texas A&M. You talk about are those the two most annoying home field crowds in the SEC? Like the cowbells are annoying.
Probably.
I think so.
Yeah. Annoying is the right term there for that. Yeah, I would say they're the most annoying.
Yeah.
I don't know who else is annoying, honestly. Like, there's a lot of good atmospheres, but like, I don't like is Baton Rouge annoying?
No,
it's just bad. Like Bama, is that annoying?
Yeah. No, I don't think. Yeah, I think that's what's kind of gets brought up because when you think about, when you think about LSU home field, you don't think about anything specific other than loud, crazy, intense. Same thing with Bama or Georgia or whatever. But yeah, when you think of Mississippi State home field, what do you think? You think of cowbells because that's all you hear. When you think of Texas A&M home, what do you think? Weirdos. And so it's all encompassing. I still think it's crap, and I will always think it's crap that Mississippi State's allowed to have cowbells in their stadium. But that's just me.
The good thing is it's only like 12,000 people there. Like, it's not a lot of people, so it's like it kind of overcompensates a little bit. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, and it's just one of those deals to where, like, what if Arkansas just started doing that? Like, or what if that would be the thing? What if like Tennessee or some place that has 110,000 people in the stands just suddenly brought in cowbells and started doing the Mississippi State thing? Like, it would everyone's eardrum would explode. Like, it would be awful. So I'm like, somebody needs to do that just to kind of prove a point, but it'll never happen. So that is not what I wanted to click on. I was about to say, I was like, what's the deal going on? But yeah, I was trying to look at the games. You talked about the ACC, the Florida State Miami game. No, I don't think there was anything better than like late 90s, early 2000s. Anytime it was like Florida State, Miami, or Florida and Tennessee, or like one of those things. So that gives me the vibes of like that late. What was it? I guess it was Butch Davis versus what was the Florida State's coach? Bobby Bowden. So it gives that type of vibe too. So to me, that's the best game. But in game day, going to Alabama and Vanderbilt, and their guest picker's Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
That is a thing that's happening.
What happened to where game day used to pick somebody from like the home like field or the home place that they're doing? Like there's a connection there. Like what
Theo
happened?
Vaughn's like a Vandy guy. Like
Yeah.
he's always out there
Maybe that's what it
practices
is.
and yeah. But which
They
is
should have
weird.
brought in Drewski to do the bit.
Yes.
See, that would have made sense, and that would have been all for that. But I just feel like there used to be a set thing where if it was game day, it's like, all right, well, what place are we at? So let's get somebody there. And maybe they're just running out of ideas because they go to certain places so often. Like, I guess that's the case. But, I was thinking, like, if they ever come to Arkansas again, it's like, oh, man, should get Jerry Jones or John Daly, or they'll probably bring in, like, I don't know, like Katy Perry or, Taylor Swift. It'd be like, okay, like, sure. Well, have you ever seen a Razorback game before?
Ben Rector.
Yeah, Ben Rector. See, he's the Dream On guy.
Perform
Right?
the song live. Dream on.
Just get booed off the stage. Yeah. It would be, it would be that. It'd be our guy, Bobby Bones, somebody like that. But it's just, I don't know, that always makes me nervous of like the one time they'll come to Fayetteville and they're like, guest picker is, just somebody that means nothing that's like playing in a movie this upcoming week. It's like, yeah, it's cool and all, but what does that person have to do with Arkansas? So I
wonder if they made the call to Theo kind of thinking it was in Nashville and then they checked it and were like, oh, wait, it's in Bama. It'll be all right. Let's,
Yeah. Or maybe he's got a show in Tuscaloosa around that time. I don't know.
To be fair, he does travel with Vanderbilt football. We have learned this. He went to, if you're going to Vanderbilt, South Carolina in Columbia, you're going to Bryant Denny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. I know that Arkansas is not going to get game day for football this year. Surely they get game day for basketball, right? Like
Kentucky here, you got it.
Has to be, right?
Yeah.
It's a Saturday game, right? In Kentucky, February.
Because they screwed that up last year. I forgot. Was it Duke, North Carolina?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
They did twice. They went to game day twice there.
It was like, yeah, but I don't know. Game day will be here for basketball, and that'll be fun. And I guess Kentucky's also is. I think Auburn's on a Saturday at home, so that'll be possibly to see what old Stephen Pearl's up to over there. See if he's got the boys playing really well. So
old Stevie Pearl, man, and none of their guys are leaving. They announced. Which
did you see Keyshawn Hall's little yeah, why don't y'all hop off now? He like posted a little thing on Instagram where he was like, yeah, we're not leaving. Yeah. It's like, all right, shut up. Congrats on not quitting your team.
Yes. Let's see if you become a winning basketball player in year 8.
I was going to say, I was like, dude, all it's going to take is them losing like North Dakota State, like game 3 or something like that. And everyone's going to be like, oh, they're just going to turn so quickly. And like, they're going to hate all the, like our guy Quinn is going to be in shambles and so upset, but man, it's going to be fun though. But either way, let's go ahead and get into your chats here. Cause a lot of them, of course, we got to get to is football, basketball. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's Friday. It's Freedom Friday. We can do whatever we want here today. But I want to remind everybody before we do, though, Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, best in the business when it comes to professional lighting for the holiday season. If you're in Northwest Arkansas or in the River Valley, they're going to take care of you for Halloween because Halloween is this month. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm checking my math here. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 weeks away. So if you want to get those lights up for Halloween, you better give our guy Brett a text because he's going to give you a free estimate on your home, 479-459-1380. But hey, if you're not a Halloween person, that's fine because they do Christmas lighting too, which everybody loves Christmas lights. And if you also text that exact same number and talk to our guy Brett, 479-459-1380, you'll get a free estimate on Christmas lights as well. They do it all. The materials are provided. You get any color, any pattern. They install the lights, free maintenance throughout the holiday season. And also they do the takedowns themselves in January. But if you do get the Halloween lights, remember, folks, you will also get your Christmas lights for 50% off. So give them a text. Again, 479-459-1380. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. All right, so getting into a few of your chats. Let's go ahead and get into the super chats because you guys all know the rules. Highest super chat goes first. Peyton Dunn. Appreciate the super chat. If you had another super chat or you had chat in there that we didn't miss, then let us know. But we appreciate it.
If it was an opinion, we'll just assume you're right.
Yes.
If it was a question, we'll assume it's rhetorical. Thank you.
There you go.
If it was a coach, he's hired.
That's right.
Exactly.
We love him. Yeah, he's our number one candidate. Also, too, Heartbroken Hog says the weekends you expect to be boring always wind up being the most insane. Say Frosty Fellas, happy birthday, John.
There's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Have some spicy finishes, maybe.
Yep. I will say, I think, guys, I could be completely wrong about this. So if my birthday is Arkansas is like 5-0 on my birthday the past 5 times when they've played on that Saturday. And I think next year my birthday's on a Saturday. So hopefully they get a really solid opponent at that time. We don't know the dates, right? We just know the opponents.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. All right. So hopefully they get it.
This is a very productive weekend for me. Big weekend. A lot at stake, one could argue.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope all your bets cash in, where you're putting all your rest in your laurels. Let's hope it all comes through in the clutch.
I've got a huge bet that I'm laying on the line tomorrow or in about 24 hours.
Yep. Well, let us know if you end up winning it. And if you don't let us know, then we'll say, hey.
If I don't text you guys tomorrow, it didn't go well.
Yeah. Well, we'll be on the lookout for it. Super chat from Unbiased. He says on basketball, Abdu Torre, is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Plays high school ball 5 minutes away from my job. I'll be going to a few games. Connecticut to Arkansas pipeline, #WPS.
I like that. Unbiased Brim. Yeah, go check it out. He went on IG Live for his commitment announcement today, and he was at his high school, and it was like a pep rally, dude. If they let him out of class, I don't know, maybe it was lunch break or something, but like the whole gym was packed with everybody. They had the cheerleaders out there. People were going nuts. It was pretty cool. And what's interesting to me is like it's in Connecticut, and like people kind of know what's going to wind up happening there. But he had like the 3 hats, and so like in front of the entire student body, it's like Providence. People are like, oh yeah, sure. UConn, oh, a little bit more. And then Arkansas, and everybody started going nuts. I'm like, yeah, you kind of tipped your hand there, bro. If you're in Connecticut and you lift up the Arkansas hat and everybody's going crazy, you already told them. But it was really cool, man, to see all that. And he's got a big personality. I would encourage anybody, if you can go back and check that out, to do so. I think Arkansas fans are going to love him. He plays like Billy Richmond. The guy that dives for loose balls and gets deflections and does all the dirty work, super athletic. So he'll endear himself to fans that way, but he's got a huge personality. He's going to be a fun one to watch. I'm really excited about him.
Also, seems like the Northeast, man. Like, obviously, Cal's got a lot of ties to that area. I feel like you're going to have plenty of opportunities, Brim, to see a bunch of Razorback targets and commits over the next decade.
Man.
Just in his tenure at Arkansas alone, in a year and a half, it's been a lot of Northeast in there.
Yeah. I was even thinking about it. One, always remember, we got to meet Brim over at Schnookers in Providence. So that was cool being up there in the Northeast. Yeah. But also too, it's my favorite thing. Cause I know, Curtis, you get tagged in too. Like if Tipton or one of these guys tags in the tweet about the commitment, my favorite thing is not only do I retweet it, but I go and I just look at the comments because it gets insane of just like these other fan bases arguing. Like if he goes to Arkansas, then you got whoever that other schools that were wanting him to be like, yeah, well, I heard, man, he's had some issues, in the classroom, and it's just like stupid stuff, and it just cracks me up every time. I was like, whatever they can do to justify themselves to say like why that guy, there had to be some crazy thing that happened of why he did not choose to go to Arkansas. I was like, oh, Arkansas is cheating, is paying money, and it's just my favorite thing.
Yeah, the level of copium in the Providence and UConn fan bases after that was crazy. There are more UConn and Providence fans arguing with each other in posts like that than there are people celebrating for Arkansas. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. They must hate each other. I don't know how big of a rivalry that is, but good grief, man. Can't get away from it. Fryer. Shut up.
I saw a few hog Twitter accounts that we know and love that were like trolling some of the Providence fans who were like getting their hopes up. And he was like, oh, don't let me get my hopes up. It's like, no, you got your hopes up.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys, have you ever been to a like ceremony of the putting on the hat in person? And if so, what was the first one or the only one that you remember? Like where you're in person there for the ceremony of some player committing? I'll tell you mine. Ronnie Brewer was the very first one, probably the only one I've ever been to. And I know it's going to show my age, but I am 37. It was an insane thing because he was making it sound like he wasn't going to Arkansas, towards the end of Nolan Richardson. Then Heath was here, and I was like, I think it was between Arkansas and Oklahoma, and it was packed in that gym. And as soon as you put on the Arkansas hat, man, you would have thought Arkansas won the championship. It was such a cool deal, and also the Ron Brewer thing and all that. But that was really the only one I have ever been to, but it was a really cool one.
Yeah, because I'm thinking I don't think Pinion did the hat thing because everybody knew he was going to Arkansas. I can't remember about Nick Smith if he did the hat thing or not. I remember the whole thing was really cool, but I don't remember that. Blocker did
just
an
signed.
announcement, and then he had like the signing ceremony that he did at Bordino's, like after he was already committed, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I don't remember if I've been to one where they've done the hat thing.
I've never been to see the hat thing. I've been to some signings of, people, kids signing to Oklahoma, kids signing to LSU or whatever. I've seen some D3 signings, which I'm like, what are you signing? But no, I've never seen anybody do the hat.
Yeah. I just remember a time where it was just the hats. And I remember there was some like old people, man, back during that stretch, like early 2000s. That alone was just like showboating, pissing me off. Just make your decision and get over it. You don't have to have all this rigmarole about putting on hats and whatnot. It's like now you get the chaos. Of course, it's not as much as it was before, but yeah, there's just always those ceremonies, man. And like I think it was the kid that had the Florida Gate that went to the Gators. He had actual alligator he was holding. You had a mom that was pissed off when her son went to Bama instead of LSU or whatever it was. Of course, Alex Collins, rest in peace, his mom stealing the NIL papers or the NLI papers, I should say. So I miss those days now. It's crazy that we don't have anymore, but I miss those days of the madness surrounding the hat ceremonies.
On NCAA 26, you can pump fake. You do the hat ceremony. They make you do a hat ceremony. They make you choose the top 3, and you can literally pump fake. You can hover over them. You can fake it. You can, there's the whole thing.
Man, there's just no respect for the game. No respect for it. All right, so see some other chats here too. David says, how many wings do you guys think you could eat in one sitting without throwing up or tapping out?
A bunch. I'm not going to do it tonight because we got work to do after, but and by work, I mean, go watch this team play and not be in the bathroom. But I think I could, I don't even know what number to put on it actually, but a lot.
I've done 20 boneless before. Now, I don't know. Boneless doesn't count, I know. So maybe if we're going traditional, I don't know, 15, 20.
Yeah, I'd say at the most for me 15, but
I could do
I'm going tonight though. I'm eating like 8. I'm not going to go crazy for that same reason, Curtis. I really don't want to be in the Bud Walton bathroom.
Feel good. Yeah.
Yeah. Something that we don't want because 25-cent wings again, folks, at Goat Lab tonight where we're going to be 1214 North Carl. You're not going to get 25-cent wings anywhere, like anywhere. So
8 wings, is that $2? 8 wings for $2?
That's how it works.
A bargain, bro.
That's a hell of a deal.
Yeah.
When you put it like that.
Yeah. Like I said, yeah, it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat there.
You can find a quarter walking down the street. Like if you pull up in the parking lot with no money, by the time you get in the door, you will have found enough to get yourself a couple wings.
Yes, easily. Even if you walk in there, if you're nice to us, we may even buy you a wing or two. We may dip into the super chats. Hey,
yeah, I'll throw some change, Joe.
Yeah. Let's see. Dylan says, Curtis, according to On3 and Rivals, Arkansas is the #1 basketball recruiting class at the moment.
I like that. Yeah. They're going based off of like the average player rating, which I think is what you should do because they got 2 high quality players. Like they're 8th at 24/7, but it's like the full team score or whatever. And so a school like Missouri, now Missouri's got a 5-star, but they've got 3 or 4 guys already committed. So they're up there higher because of volume. So I like when they do the average player ratings at the, I guess On3 and Rivals is the same thing now. So, and I just don't know what to call. Well, I think Rivals does the high school rankings or something, but at any rate, I did see that and that's cool. And they're not done. I mean, they're going to get a couple more. And I think one of them's potentially going to surprise some people. So
they could finish higher than first.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
0.
I think
ceiling is not the roof.
It's called On Rivals 3, by the way. It's On Rivals.
There we go. Yeah.
Pretty soon it'll be called 247 On Rivals 3 Sports, and you're just gonna keep buying things, and it's just gonna keep growing into all of this, man. It's insane. Hickory Hawk says, "What if Petrino FaceTimes Pittman in the locker room after the win, like Powell did Boogie?" I don't think
it's big nose.
You got a big nose, man. Jeez, you're hammered.
Oh man, I don't think that's gonna happen, but I don't know. It's like at some point in time, I feel like not that I'm saying I have to hear from. It's like Pittman's gonna have to like surely do something at some point if it's a tweet or an interview or something.
What if they FaceTimed him after the win? He was like, "Turn that damn jukebox on."
I would cringe a little bit. I would a little bit.
I don't know what I would do, but it'd be like, I don't know, it'd be weird.
Bobby needs to hit him with that. We did it, Joe. We did it.
Yeah. No, that is. Here's the thing: is that is a funny thing to think about. Like if Arkansas beat Tennessee, like Like, dude, I don't even know if they put out a locker room celebration thing because Petrino's not doing any of that nonsense.
No club dub. Club dub is closed.
No.
Oh yeah, they'll post the very business-like post game.
Yeah.
We did what we were supposed to do.
It'll literally be like, good job, guys. Nice win. Let's get ready for the next one. See you on the bus. Boom. That's it.
Don't screw me over. We got a chance here. Don't screw me. That's what Bobby's going to be saying to him.
Yeah. You all just made me a lot of money. I appreciate it. It's like it's just going to be like, because then it's if he beats Tennessee, suddenly he just skyrockets to the power rankings #1 of the head coach for Arkansas.
Will the young players on the team turn on Bobby when they see him trending towards becoming the head coach? And they're like, I don't know if I want to play for this guy. Let's drop this Mississippi State game.
Yeah. Again, all that fun stuff is going to happen. Let's see. Heartbroken Hawk says, how does the discussion change if Florida opens up after this weekend?
I got to be honest with you. So one, I don't think Florida's going to open up after this weekend. That's not a guarantee. Maybe they do. I was actually looking at Florida's schedule earlier. They play a home game against Mississippi State on the 18th and then have a bye week. So that's your very clear time. If they're going to fire Billy Napier, it would be then. They could fire him this week, but I got to be honest, not a ton. It does change the conversation. It's certainly going to be a factor. The Florida job is undoubtedly a better job than Arkansas. So that certainly is going to change the landscape a little bit, but they can only hire one guy. So it's I don't think really drastically where it's oh man, we thought we were going to get Summerall or Golish or whatever. And it's now Florida's open. We can't get any of it. It's they can only hire one guy.
Yeah. But if they want your guy, they'll get him and you won't.
Correct.
Yeah. And who are the names that are always getting thrown out of there? Like Golish, of course, because it's South Florida and he just beat them. I've heard Lashley, connected to that one, and Auburn if Auburn was to open, and some of your guys are right there. Summerall, I don't know if they would actually go that route though, because they just tried to do that sort of with Napier and it didn't work. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you can only hire one unless he just swiped them all in our imaginary fantasy coaching staff. It's okay, you get the 3 top targets and you got 2 of them are coordinators and suck at Arkansas. That's not going to happen. So
yeah, I've seen Signetti floated around as Florida will probably do the make him say no thing, and I think he would be much more likely to entertain Florida than Arkansas. I also think, call me crazy, I think Kiffin is gonna be a discussion. Will he jump? Will he whatever? But I think that's going to be a thing, and so I think it's possible they hire a guy that Arkansas was not connected to at all.
Well, I'm going to give you a little scoop here. My sources told me that Lane Kiffin would go to take the Florida job immediately if he just gets offered it. But every single time he has not been offered it, even before they hired Napier, they didn't even talk to him, but he would have 100% taken it. I'm like, that would make me happy because I'd be like, okay, yeah, finally, Ole Miss, go back to being nothing. But it's also too, it's man, Lane Kiffin at Florida, that'd be pretty good. Florida, I feel just I know it's probably been more than that, but it feels like they go great coach, trash coach, great coach, trash coach, great coach, trash coach. Just seems like they go, because I forgot the other day until I saw someone bringing up that I was like, McElwain. Oh yeah, McElwain was the head coach there. And they went and they won the SEC East twice in a row. And they're like, guys, this guy sucks. We got to fire him. It's just weird stuff. Florida's just an interesting job. What job could open up that would be problematic for Arkansas? I guess if Lane Kiffin went to Florida and then Ole Miss was open for sure.
Any other SEC job damn near that could potentially open up would be problematic, I think.
I think the worst case scenario for Arkansas is that Florida's open and then, maybe Ole Miss opens because of Florida. And so that would kind of just replace that. And then Auburn opens up also, maybe you could throw, probably not Kentucky, but if there were 4 SEC jobs, because think about it, the year they hired Pittman, there were 4 SEC openings that year, and they got the 4th guy. You know what I mean? And so I think that would be your nightmare scenario.
Because I don't know. I think maybe Marcelo put it out there or somebody, but I saw Mark Stoops' buyout at Kentucky.
It's stupid high, and
I'm I knew it was high, but I didn't realize that not only how high it was, but also the entire amount of money is due in 60 days. It's one of those Jimbo Fisher type things. So I started thinking, I was like, man, they may not fire because I think it's $28 million or something crazy. And last time I checked, I don't know if a lot of schools are just flooding around $28 million, especially at a place like Kentucky where it's the second sport on campus to fire a coach. So They may be stuck with Stoops for a while.
Yeah, who the hell are you to fire Mark Stoops? Honestly,
Yeah,
like, seriously.
Yeah, that guy gets it though. He understands Kentucky. He just gets it, man. Just gets it. Let's see. Dylan also says, you guys know what's crazy? If Coach Cal wins 26 games this year, he will be at 900 wins in his career. True. I think.
I like that.
Yeah. He
is that not counting the vacated ones, or
vacated, schmacated, it's those others. So do you think Cal gets to 1,000?
Yeah. I mean,
Sure.
if he wants to.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that, 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. So it's like say he wins 26 games at the most this year, just say, which I think he'll win more, but like say if he won that, that'll put him at 3 years left on his contract at Arkansas to get 33 or more wins a year, though. You know what I'm saying? Like if he only coached 3 more years, it'd be tough. I'm not saying he won't do it, but if Cal's going to be so competitive where even if his contract runs up at Arkansas, he's like, I need 1 more year because I got to get that 1,000 mark. He wants to do it. So, yeah, that'll be cool. Hopefully when he does get that 900th win, it's like at Arkansas when it takes place. Another super chat here from AS1317. Okay. It says, what I'm afraid of is if Bobby does a Bobby. We love him, but his track record is something to be concerned about. Regardless, we have to acknowledge. Here's my thing, AS1317. I get it. I don't care. I want to win. I'm done with these nonsense about track records and whatnot. You know why? Because Lane Kiffin had track records, and look what they're doing. It's fun. I'll even bring up Muss, and I'm not saying Muss in a negative light at all, but I'm just saying Muss had some stuff that people may have brought up as being like, oh, these are negatives. But guess what? He won, and I didn't care. So that's my thing. Is like, we stop getting choir boys. If he wins, he wins. Who cares? It's the only thing that should matter. Number one problem.
Well, I think to point out AS1317's point, I think the one thing you should be concerned about is that Bobby wins 2 or 3 games, and it's kind of in that range of didn't really win over the entire fan base, but Arkansas goes with it anyway because it's the cheapest, easiest, less, crazy option. That would concern me. And then you mentioned the track record. Obviously, there's the off-field stuff, but there's also a very serious question about whether or not Bobby can build a program that lasts because pretty much, his entire track record is filled with quick, fires that go out pretty quickly. And so I think that would be the concern. I think no matter what, if you're an Arkansas fan looking at this Bobby thing, you can't be looking at this as a long-term solution. Even if he gets hired as the head coach full-time, it would be on like a short-term, keep the program in a safe spot until you can find someone else. Bobby's not going to be a 12-year head coach at your university. And then, when you mentioned the track record, that is what would concern you, is that you look at his track record, he's never at a place longer than 3 years, 4 years. And if he is, it usually bottoms out. So I think no matter what, not that your concern is not invalid, but I don't think even the university is looking at Bobby as like, hey, we're going to hire this guy and he's just going to be the head coach for 10 years.
Yeah. Well, and also I'll tell you right now, if Bobby Petrino only, and I say only wins 2 or less games and they retain him as head coach permanently, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be infuriated if that happens. Because to me, it's just going to be lazy. It's going to be lazy and the path of least resistance and not good. So, also, I guess, Dylan just said this. I guess Cal put it out there too. Speaking of basketball, he says, Arkansas Pro Day showcasing my players for all 30 NBA teams will air live this Sunday on all 15 FanDuel sports networks across the country at 4 p.m. Central. You can see Pro Day on Cox, DTV, Fubo, and FDSN YouTube. So I didn't realize that was, is DTV DirecTV? Is that what that is? Or am I too old? I think it's DirecTV.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds about right.
I don't know what Fubo is, but you can watch it there too.
This is gonna be awesome, dude.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
Those are the types of little things where I'm like, only with Cal you could do have that. And it's no insult to any other coach at Arkansas or previously. It's just like no other coach is getting that. Like, it doesn't matter.
You don't. Muss used to have pro days, right? Mm-hmm. Teams have pro days all the time. It's just a thing. You don't have that broadcast all over the place if you don't feel really good about your players and your team. It's just this is another indication to me that Cal feels pretty damn solid about what he has here. Makes me even more excited about the season. But it's going to be cool. And for, I guess that they're going to show all of it, and they'll do specific drills for the guards and the bigs and everything because they'll want to give scouts a look at that kind of stuff. But a lot of it too is they should, I would think in theory, be getting up and down. And if they do, that is going to be more competitive than what you see tonight at prime time at the Palace, because they're going to be in there in front of NBA scouts trying to up their stock. So those dudes are going to be getting after it. I'm not saying I'm more excited for Sunday than I am tonight because we get to like physically be there to watch them, but I'm pretty intrigued by this, man. I think it could be a pretty cool deal.
I used to think it was so cool when Kentucky would do this under Cal, and they would have, Scal Labissiere out there, and I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. I just think that's cool for you to be on, SEC Network Plus or whatever they're going to end up doing. Like, I think that's cool for sure.
Yeah. No, I love stuff like this. So let's go ahead. I'm going to pull an Andrew right here. Let's go ahead and decide this right now. If Arkansas wins the national championship in basketball this year, how long is the stream going to do? Do we need to do an all-nighter? Just like
it's a marathon. I mean, until we want to party,
we could stream and party at the same time. Just leave our setup there and let anyone be on it. Just be like, hey, we're going to go hang out.
We could do that. I mean, by that point, we'll probably have like a producer with a camera and everything and just follow us around wherever we go. So, man. Cameron, what do you think?
Yeah, Cameron, you're hired, Cameron. You're gonna have to go around and do it. That'd be electric, man. Like that's just this type of stuff where I know we're in football mode and all that, but when you're talking about Cal feeling himself and feeling this team, like, man, just don't break my heart again. Don't not break my heart in the postseason, but just don't make just give me a good regular season too. Like in addition to the great postseason, give me something. I just don't want to deal with January year after year after year. But at the same time, if it leads to success in postseason, I'll deal with it. I'd rather have a great postseason, crappy regular season than a great regular season and a crappy postseason. So
it does feel like we'll have to pay the piper to a degree. Like if you finally have that awesome regular season, you'll probably get popped early in the tournament just one time, just to even everything out. And then the next year they'll win the whole thing.
Yep.
But if they struggle some in January again, I'm picking them to win the national title this year.
Yeah. It has to happen. I'm trying to think of like what I guess I was trying to compare it to all the other SEC teams and schools and everything there too. It's just things are wide open right now. I mean, it's fun to think about with basketball. Austin, appreciate the super chat. Just give it to you. So I appreciate that. Let's see. We'll have our recruiting update with Dudley, presented by Goat Lab as it's going into the weekend. So as far as Razorback football and where everything stands, I had a lot of decommitments. David just says, are you guys going to take one of the new Waymos in Nashville for the SEC tournament next year? For science, there's a new Waymo.
If it's the same one, the ones in, if they're like the ones in San Fran, I'm in. I'm not afraid of it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We had the worst experience you could, I don't want to say the worst you could possibly have. If anybody should be bad about Waymos, it should be us because we had a very weird experience and that was a fluke. And we experienced that and understand it's a fluke. Day to day, like they don't, there's nothing wrong with the Waymo, I don't believe.
I don't know how to feel about Andrew saying that because Andrew was just laughing the entire time. So it's like if our experience was so bad, but yet he was laughing during that entire experience, I'm like, it was funny because that's what made it funny looking back on it because, we're in a town. We don't know what's going on. You got guys up there with guns and police officers and Andrew's just in the front seat cracking up. Like it's just.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, if you go in a Waymo, like your big fear would be that something like that happens. And it happened, and it wasn't really that bad. Like we just found a way around it. And honestly, if it happened to us again, we would right away know, let's put a mark down here. We'd be able to probably get out of there earlier. And so honestly, trial by fire. We went through the fire, and now we're immune to anything the Waymo can do to harm us.
Yeah. Just no offense, we love you, but Logan, you can't get in the Waymos with us anymore. Those was a little snug. You're a big old boy, man. We may have to take 2 Waymos next time because that was snug for those long trips. Hog Central, appreciate the super chat. He goes, big fan of the show. Y'all make my work days not take as long. That's what we're here for. Question though, why is Sanders a bad idea to coach here? Genuine question. I assume you're talking about Dion. It's just because it's like you look at what Colorado's got going on. He had a Heisman Trophy winner. There's just a lot of stuff that came along with it. I don't know. I just feel like if he had gone up to Colorado and had been dominating and like really showing out, then it'd be different. But it's just like. If he's doing it at Colorado, you think he's just going to come into Arkansas and just turn it on? I don't know.
That's my thing. I think the way he's going about doing it is just something that's a little bit more sustainable in the Big 12, and it's a little bit more volatile in the SEC. I just don't know how that particular philosophy would really work out for him. I think it would be awesome. It'd be cool. Thank God he's doing well, but he's got some health things that, going on there as well. It's, listen, if they hired Deion Sanders, I'd be pumped. I'd be fired up about it. And I would definitely spin it into the best hire in the history of the program, in the history of the world. But I don't know if that's really the direction that they want to go here.
I mean, it's not that there's no case to be made. The case would be, what'd they go last year? 9-3. The case would be, hey, they had a good year. They caught lightning in a bottle where you bring in all these portal guys and you can bring in a ton of talent. And that would be the case is, hey, he could maybe bring in 5-star players. He would maybe be able to bring in a huge transfer class. You throw him some NIL. Maybe he'd be able to do that. And you would look at that year, but I would look at it and say he's on track. They're about to go like 4-8 this year. They went 4-8 a couple years ago. So, you mentioned the sustainability, Curtis. One could argue what he's doing isn't even sustainable at the current place he's at now. Not to mention, and I'm not saying this is a knock. Like he also is a guy that has his own health issues. Like, I think there's, it's a lot easier to make the case against him than there is to make the case for him. But it's not like there's no case for him. I just think you would have to go through like 17 to 20 guys before you got to him. Yeah.
Well, and I was thinking about this too, because I saw somebody in the chat talk about, Austin is like take on Kendall Briles. Here's my thing. This is not even a Briles thing, but it's like, guys, I feel like Arkansas is in a position to where they can hire a guy who's actually been an established head coach. Like they should be in a position to do that. That's why John Sumrall, Alex Golesh, coaches from that have been head coaches. Like I say that, but then at the same time, I'm like, well, I know Pippen was like the one, but every other time they've never hired a big time coordinator from Georgia or Alabama, as a head coach, which not saying it always works out, but it is one of those things where you think, with all the coaches previously that they've hired, they've always been head coaches before, which is not a bad thing, but maybe there would be something to be said if you hired a Georgia or Ohio State coordinator or something like that. I don't know.
That's my thing is like, if you're going to go the coordinator route, I think Kendall, by the way, if you're going the coordinator route, Kendall Briles is in your top 6 or 7, probably. The question I would have with him is he's not a guy that loves recruiting. Not big on it. Not his favorite thing to do. He wasn't a great recruiter at Arkansas. He hasn't been a great recruiter at TCU. It's not really his forte. He's a guy that can take solid talent and make it look really good. So would he be able to recruit at a high level? I would be kind of wondering about that. Never been a head coach before. I think if you're going the coordinator route, I would rather have a younger up-and-coming guy at an Oregon, at a Georgia, at a Bama or something like that to where you're like, okay, this guy's on an upward. Whereas Kendall, not that he's not that, but I just think if you're going the coordinator route, there's better options there.
Yeah. We'll have your recruiting update. Just keep getting the super chats. We appreciate. Tony Robbins voice box. Okay. It says, I thought Waymo was a drug. LOL. Well, I mean,
it might be.
It's, the kids these days with their lingos, it might happen. Scott just gave a super chat. Says, how much do I have to give to fix Aaron Drew's internet? Lay off of it. It's like,
hey, the ball's in Ozarks Go court, by the way. I've already began preliminary discussions. They've reached out to me. I've reached back out to them. They've reached back out to me. We gotta hash out some things, but the ball is in Ozarks Go court. So if y'all want to help me, tweet at Ozarks Go and say, help Andrew Ellis.
There you go. You've been given a call to action there. And also another super chat from AS1317 says, I don't care about his morals. It's if he pulls us out of the bottom and leaves us a note after 9 wins in the players' locker room that he is going. I miss stability. I'm 30 and I've endured 20 years of rebuilding. WPS.
I think this is a good point. And by the way, like, I want to make clear, like, the case to not hire Bobby Petrino as your head coach, his morals to me is like not even really in the top like 7 or 8. You mentioned the stability aspect and like not wanting to reset. That would be the case. And so, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen here. Like, I think that Atlanta Falcons situation was, it's something I get why people use that as a knock on Bobby. And yeah, you can feel however you want to feel about it. That was like 20 years ago. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily it. I would just say like, hey, could he build something that lasts? That would be the question. But I'm with you that the morals aren't really what my hang up is.
No, not mine either. All right, we'll get to more of your chats. Also have Connor O'Gara joining us later in the show of Saturday Down South. But also want to remind everybody that we're going to do a recruiting update presented by our friends over at Goat Lab Red, which we will be at Goat Lab Red tonight starting at 6 p.m. We'll probably be there earlier, but stream starts at 6 p.m. at 1214 North Garland Avenue. and let everybody know about it because 25-cent wings. That's right, 25-cent wings. Can't get a better deal than that. And it's going to be happening as we get you ready for prime time at the Palace tonight. And Curtis, I don't have it written down, so if you want to go ahead and just say what it's called again, so that way I don't screw it up.
It's the Pot at the Palace primetime, previewing primetime at the Palace.
That's great timing right there, boys. So it's going to be awesome here tonight. So come hang out with us because it's not only the 25-cent wings, but they have incredible signature Goat Lab brews like Razorback, Tusk Light. They have signature burgers. It's a great spot, not only for tonight, but for lunch because they play Inside Arkansas Live each and every day there on their TVs. And it's going to be a great time tonight. So be sure to come on out at 1214 North Garland Avenue in Fayetteville. It's Goat Lab Red, your new game day tradition. With that being said, let's go ahead and get to your Inside Arkansas recruiting update real quick with our guy, Dudley Dawson.
Welcome into the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast, sponsored by Goat Lab.
I don't know what that is, so we may have to figure out something. That's something the video messed up on. But either way, we'll get you to that here in just a little bit too.
Here's the recruiting update. They're all decommitting.
Yeah,
class stinks.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I said, I had StreamYard, everything ready to go. I'm going to blame StreamYard for it if that's the case. So
they're good to blame because
yes, they are. They
usually the culprit.
Always love messing things up to the highest level, and it's really annoying. And I'll never understand why they do it that way. But either way, we'll get you that update here though as soon as possible because it's of course got some good stuff in there from Dudley. Real quick. Cats by 90 also want to say I'm glad we don't have this Pot at the Palace drama or primetime at the Palace drama with Pope.
What drama is there?
Drama? What is he talking about? Drama. Coach Cal's spending his whole day out at the sororities, getting students to be out there, firing everybody up, man. They're giving away scholarships, half-court shots for $20,000 a pop. Gonna be a bunch of people there excited to watch the team. You're better than this, Cats by 90.
I really genuinely want to know what drama he's referring to. Like, what is dramatic about them doing a little celebration tonight? Like, like Kentucky's going to do some version of it, and it's going to. And by the way, Kentucky's going to do it very well. Credit to them. But like,
they'll do their Big Blue Madness thing, and it'll be like there'll be glaze just oozing off of their donut about how it was the best thing in the history of man, and it's the next wonder of the world and everything else. Let Arkansas do their thing.
Yeah. See, my favorite thing is still like I talked about on one of our Locked On Squad shows about the thing with Kentucky about saying that anytime that Mark Pope just farts, everyone's just like, oh, guy just gets it. The funniest thing ever was a Kentucky fan respond to me. He's like, that is an oversimplification of what goes on. And then he goes to this whole long paragraph about like why he gets it and why he's great. And I'm like, you are literally proving the point that I was trying to make, where I make a joke and you take it so far and so seriously. It's like, I'm going to tell this guy why he's wrong, but why he's also right at the same time. Because they just love it, man. And it's fine. It's cool to love your coach. It's cool. But it just seems like it got to a point and still continues to get a point to where you just keep looking back and be like, huh? What do you think about this, Arkansas? It's like you're making like, it's like an X thing. He's like, yeah, you think you like this? And you're like kissing him. You're like, yeah, what do you think about that? Huh? Yeah, we got someone better over here. It's like, go away, dude. It's weird. It's weird that you got that going on. Okay, now let's try this again. Here's our recruiting update with Dudley Dawson, presented by Goat Lab Red.
Covering recruiting and the transfer portal for the Razorbacks. This is Inside Arkansas Recruiting with Dudley Dawson.
Welcome into the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast, sponsored by Goat Lab Brewery. I'm your host, Dudley Dawson. Just wanted to stop by, kind of update a few things. Arkansas has offered Connor Rutherford, an offensive lineman from Chillicothe, Ohio. He's a 2027 guy, so it shows that Arkansas is out there, still recruiting. That's something you have to do in this situation. I've covered a lot of coaching changes over the years. Never one in the smack dab middle of the season, though. So it's going to be interesting to see how all this plays itself out. Obviously, Arkansas has a high school recruiting period in December, and then what's going to be an impact transfer portal period January 2nd through 16th. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think that's where you're going to find out more about your record next year when you get into that transfer. Who's going to be the coach there? Bobby Petrino is certainly moving forward with staff changes and recruiting, and as if he's going to be the guy. That's certainly the thing you have to do. Even though Arkansas has an open week this weekend, they were still out there doing a lot of things, recruiting, making calls, and also, Coach Petrino, as I said, is coaching as if he's going to be the guy next year. That's what you have to do. Arkansas is looking at its advanced scouting staff and doing other things that they can put themselves in position not only to win football games down the stretch here, but also to be able to make it, a reality next year of being able to compete. Thank you for stopping by. We'll be here for further details as the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast continues, sponsored by Goat Lab Brewery. All
right, there you have it. There's Dudley Dawson with the recruiting update. And yeah, it's kind of a weird thing, too, for Dudley, where it's like, he's having to cover recruiting. And it's like it's just a bunch of decommitments, but the staff's got to move forward. And that's just a tough thing, too. If you're Bobby Petrino, like, hey, come to Arkansas because I might be the coach. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how you handle that. I don't know what you do, but you just do the best you can. So let's see a few more chats here, too. Let's see. There was, we were talking about basketball. Phil was saying that Duke and UNC is the Saturday after our Kentucky game. So we're all good. So there you go.
Thank goodness for that.
Good to hear that.
Who is the game day crew now? I should know this for college basketball.
Greenberg on there. Is Jay Will on there?
Yeah.
So is it Reese Davis still that hosts it?
I don't know.
I honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't watch college basketball.
Never at Arkansas, so I don't.
Right.
Other than that one time that it shouldn't have been.
I'm usually at Bud Walton or tapping in to SEC Network for an Arkansas game. You know what I mean? When that's going on, I really don't know.
Grayson says, do you guys think Selman Bridges deserves a shot at some reps? No way it could be worse. Julian Neal has been good, but I've heard the announcers talk highly about Kenai Walker, but he's been suspect.
But here's the thing about, first of all, I want to say he had like a shoulder, like an AC joint or something that was bugging. I don't know if it was keeping him out, but he was limited by that. My thought on Selman, though, is for the entire spring up through the first 2 weeks of fall camp, they did everything they could to make him a starting corner. Like he ran with the ones nonstop. They gave him every opportunity to do so. And then by the beginning of the season, he wasn't even on the 2 deep, not getting any reps at all. So I understand it from a standpoint of like the guys that you've had out there haven't been very good. So why not give somebody else a look? He also has to earn it. So maybe this is an opportunity for him to step up and take some reps and get some snaps here. I don't know, but I can't co-sign, or I can't say that I think he deserves it because I don't know what he's looked like out there at practice. I'm just assuming not great if he hasn't been playing, but I'm all for shaking it up and trying some different things because what they've been doing hasn't been working at all.
And I don't want to speculate too much here and read between the lines, but do you remember those scrimmages where the first team offense would have all these huge explosive plays? They were tailing through like 7 touchdowns against the second team defense. I would imagine that Selman Bridges and, perhaps Keyshawn Davila, perhaps Jaheim Singletary, perhaps someone else was over there. I think that was a huge part of this whole discussion. You mentioned the injury, which is important. That we didn't even see him in the first couple of weeks in those other games because he was still recovering from that injury. So maybe he's 100% now. And he's a young guy. He's a redshirt freshman. So it's very possible that, that light bulb goes off at some point during this year and we see a different version of him. I do think it's a dangerous game when you just assume, you say, well, this guy that's playing sucks. So the guy that couldn't beat him out is probably better, right? You know what I mean? It pretty much never works that way, except in random stances here and there.
Yeah. Also, too, like this from Kingsley, just real quick. He says, Cats by 90 doesn't like helping families. It's true.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, he did clarify. He said that the drama is all these preseason antics. Pope focuses more on basketball. So he cited the PT ATP thing as a preseason antic. And he says Pope focuses more on basketball. So are you saying, Cats by 90, that Pope is not going to do some version of Big Blue Madness or
they're doing it next week?
I would say I would respect your stance way more if you just said, listen, I hate John Calipari and he drives me nuts. So everything he does kind of rubs me the wrong way. That would be fine. I would actually accept that because that's, hell, when we see Drinkwitz do normal stuff, we're like, oh, we hate it that he's doing it because we hate that guy. If you just said that, that'd be one thing. But having a preseason meet the team moment with the students is not, I wouldn't qualify that as preseason antics.
Aren't we talking about the same guy here in Mark Pope who drove into his introductory press conference on a bus and hopped out with a Letterman jacket on with his old teammates, and the same guy who was trying to do the old Eric Musselman old school ESPN commercial where he's like, oh, running late to practice or whatever. No antics there, really? I mean, come on now.
Yeah, and look, by the way, me personally, I don't look at that stuff and be like, oh man, antics from Mark Pope. Like, I think it's corny, but it's like, that's just normal stuff. Like, all these basketball guys do this stuff, like there's Bruce Pearl before he retired was doing stuff like this, where he would dress up and all that, and Muss does his things. Like, you can call it antics if you want, but it's like, to act like this is like a real thing, like, oh, he's not focused on basketball. I have a hard time believing that a grown-ass man truly feels that way.
Is this because Cal knows how to use a QR code now?
Yeah, I think so. There's just so many antics when you got the QR codes involved, guys. I mean, come on.
Having your players play a half of basketball in front of the students, antics.
Yeah, just antics. Well, I was just laughing because I looked at Big Blue Nation or Big Blue, whatever they're doing. It's like they have a main stage of programming includes rewatching Kentucky basketball, rewatches of games with Kentucky basketball staff members and legends, as well as trivia. There's going to be some various trophies and memorabilia out there. They got food trucks and music, live music. Just to me, those are antics, boys. I don't know about y'all.
Is Mark Pope making balloon animals? Hey, I know which game they're not going to be rewatching with the staff.
I'll tell you what one we'll be watching. Hey, let's get into Rupp and like mess with the wires. Just like start playing that game. See what the reaction is.
I'm glad Kites by 90's in here. Like this will trigger enough of BBN that they'll start hopping in. This is a good time for it to happen.
He's already devolved to wait till we'll see what happens January 31st. Which, like, look, again, we will. But I'm like, that is a completely separate conversation. We're not saying, hey, Arkansas is going to beat Kentucky because they're doing this. We're just saying that it's not crazy for a school to do a preseason hype thing.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with the season.
And also, like, I know I'll be clear about it. It's like there's a lot of Kentucky fans I really like. Well, we talk about Joy to the World. Joy to the World's awesome. Like my guy JC that I met at the Cal's Fantasy Camp is a Kentucky guy. Like, awesome dude. So it's not everybody. It's just the Kentucky fans that literally are like weird and obsessive and won't stop type of thing. Like that's.
And listen, I will give the Kentucky fan base a lot of credit, man. Like, that is a freaking passionate, like, they are so locked in. Like, Cats by 90 would not be here if he were not so tapped in and so passionate as a basketball fan. But we don't have to just lie and make things up and like make Look, you know what we're doing here? We're making mountains out of molehills. We're being mad at stuff just to be mad at stuff, and we don't have to do that. We can talk ball and have passion for our programs without just like pissing in the wind here.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. We'll get to hear from Connor Gare in just a second. I did want to bring this up before we go too off the rails. I just want to say, today's my birthday, and I appreciate all the birthday wishes, but I wanted to give a shout out to the creativity of one Curtis Wilkerson for this. And I just wanted to ask how and why. Let's go with the how. Like, what did you do for this?
I asked ChatGPT to produce a photo of. I said Locked On Razorback. I figured that would be a little bit more known for like ChatGPT, but I said, give me Locked On Razorbacks host John Neighbors sitting in front of a birthday cake with Bobby Petrino standing over the top of him with a whistle in his mouth. And that's what they produced.
Did you sure you didn't put Ozzy Maverick at any point in the prompt?
Bro, I'm telling you, man. I did not, but he's not going to be able to escape the allegations. So
it's like I started looking at some like, I don't know, this guy better looking than me? I don't know. He might be. Maybe wish it was him, but no. I just really laughed because I was really shocked by one, how like good the Locked On's like graphics, and he had the Petrino thing look good, and then he just had like, I look like Steve from Blue's Clues. Like, you do
like Steve from Blue's Clues.
Like, dude, I just was like. And then the birthday cake says a lot Razorbacks, and I love how the birthday cake though still managed to have like the little like registered logo, like symbol on it. Everything. It's just, I don't know. I just saw this. I'm like, wow. And I will, like, you guys know it. I get a lot of weird AI stuff made about me, but I was like, I'm glad with this. You know what? If we, Coach Petrino, if you're listening, I know you are. If we could recreate this photo at some point in time today, I would really appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it would be electric. I tried to be very, very specific with what I asked of ChatGPT, and I was like, we'll just see what happens, and if it's funny or if it's decent, I'm going to throw it out there. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this is almost exactly what I was looking for. So yeah, we're in.
Well, it nails the Locked On Razorbacks logo and everything, but for some reason the Razorback logo is just a little bit off. It still hasn't yet to master the Razorback logo.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's fine. Tigers can't be choosers, so I just wanted to throw that out there and show my appreciation for it. So, all All right. So here's the thing is that we know there's a lot of stuff going on with coaching searches and getting the updates on everything too. Well, Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South has written an article about some of the coaches that Arkansas needs to be looking at or he thinks would be a great fit, as well as some other thoughts on everything going on with the Razorback coaching search. So let's go ahead and get a chance to hear from Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South. Right now, we're joined by a very special guest here on Inside Arkansas Live. It's a guy that knows all about college football, especially in the SEC. Of course, our friend Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South joining us now to talk all things Razorback, coaching searches, all that great stuff. But Connor, it's always good to talk with you, my man. How you doing this afternoon?
Doing well. I feel for the people of Arkansas who are enduring a very difficult time right now, but also a time that should be filled with promise and hope and uncertainty, and most importantly, Robert Patrick Petrino. And that's all we can ask for.
We got to start there, man. It's like I went to school at the University of Arkansas during Petrino's run, and it was the greatest time as a Razorback football fan. I hated to see it end. I've always been a Petrino guy. I still like Petrino. It's just, I just never dreamed. If you had told me like back in 2011 or 2012, even when he was fired, like, hey, just wait 13 years, you're going to have him back as the head coach, as well as John Calipari being your basketball coach. You'd be like, that's stupid. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But is it as insane to you as it is to me seeing Bobby Petrino back as the head coach at Arkansas?
No, it is every bit as insane as it probably is for you. And look, I didn't live it in the same sort of way, and I just could see these things from afar. But it is bizarre world. And it's just a reminder in college football that no door ever truly closes. It just doesn't. And we're seeing reunions in college football right now with Scott Frost in my neck of the woods here at UCF and Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia. Who says you can't go home? The great Bon Jovi once said. So I do feel like, in a weird way, Arkansas is home for Bobby Petrino. Does it mean it is his forever home? Does Bobby Petrino truly have a forever home? Is perhaps the better question. It is so bizarre to think that he has a job interview. Now, can I think of him as anything but a certain Dwight Schrute when he tries to get the regional manager job post Michael Scott? No, that's all I can think of. And look, Dwight ends up getting the job at the end. Spoiler alert for those who have not actually seen all 9 seasons of The Office. Just skip through all season 8 and then most of season 9. But that's the world we're living in. And when you're this desperate, anything is open. That door is legitimately open for Arkansas.
So thinking about it in that perspective, I compare it to, like, you had this great movie 10, 15, 20 years ago that you loved, and you found out that they're coming out with a sequel and you're all excited about it. You're like, oh my goodness, they're back. The band's back together. But then you watch the sequel and it's like, it's not as good. It's not as good as one. It's like the Happy Gilmore thing. I was maybe been the only one that didn't like that, but I was really thought it was terrible.
No, you weren't alone. It was
okay,
bad.
Good. I just want to make sure. But besides that, though, it's like, you know, the circumstances, Petrino. You know the team he has. He's got 7 games in 9 weeks. Tennessee on the road being his first one next Saturday. He fired the entire defensive staff, essentially. What can be done? Just as far as this season with Arkansas and Petrino, are they going to go 0-7? Is there actually room for them to win some of these games? Like, what's kind of the scenarios that could play out here?
I don't want to say this is a disrespect to Travis Williams, because he's a guy that I really respect. And for the longest time, I was saying this guy is very much rising the ranks. And I do think Arkansas will have to brace itself for a world in which he leaves and gets an FBS head coaching job. We'll put that one on the back burner. I do think that it couldn't get worse defensively. So Bobby Petrino firing the defensive staff, I'm like, cool. What's going to be worse than what happened against Notre Dame, wherein the first teamers got all but 40 possible yards on the field? I mean, that's just an unheard of thing to have happened in a game. So I do think that you're trying to keep the best thing you have going intact, which is Taylor Green, Bobby Petrino. Other than that, it's kind of all right, it's Washington, is Russell the guy like who's getting the backfield carries? Omega Blake, he's been fun, he's been good so far, but you're trying to keep Taylor Green and Bobby Petrino together, and you're trying to keep fans from saying, this sucks, I'm not showing up anymore. And that was what I think Hunter Yurachek finally realized at halftime of that game, when he looked up with a national audience and realized, I've got my entire stadium emptied out. Now, it doesn't mean that they're all going to stay there in late November, and I don't know that Bobby Bobby Petrino is capable of pulling off a feat like that. But in order for this to even be a conversation when that decision has to be made, those are the things you have to see. You have to see the true interim coach energy week in, week out. And is he capable of that? It's still a really difficult schedule. I mean, no matter who's coaching there, you could have Nick Saban lining up to coach Arkansas football, and he would still probably go, we're going to be an underdog in a lot of these games. So I think the bar is set very, very high. And I do think that it's going to be an uphill climb for him.
Well, I believe in these 7 games, it's kind of an audition, at least for Petrino, because he wants and has publicly stated he wants the permanent job. And I think that's the weirdest thing to me, because I was like, man, dude, like, why do you want to go into this world of college football being a head coach at Arkansas again and having to deal with NIL and all that stuff? But apparently it's what he wants. So do you think it's just the matter of the wins and losses for him, and that is what gets him the job? And what is the likelihood, you think, that he actually ends up having the permanent head coaching job at Arkansas?
I think the way that they phrased that release, as Matt Hayes brought up when he came on my show, shameless plug, Saturday Down South podcast, one of the things that we talked about was, why did they include that part in the release? Why has Hunter Yurachek talked about how Bobby Petrino wants this job? If it weren't a possibility, they would just say, look, we're going to have a wide open national search and not even just entertain that idea. Instead, you have at least given him that incentive. Now, how real that incentive is, he knows that better than I do, because he's had those conversations with the important Arkansas families behind the scenes. That's what so much of this is going to come down to, is what does the alignment look like over the course of the next month? The people that are making those decisions, who are deciding whether or not they can finance this roster, finances that Hunter Yurachek said need to be improved for football. What are those conversations starting to look like? I don't think you know the end results of that right now if you're Hunter Yurachek. I think you need to see how that plays out, what type of momentum and alignment you truly feel like you're getting. And yeah, wins and losses, a big part of that. Having Taylor Green develop into like some sort of top 5 quarterback in the SEC, which I think he was off to that start. I don't think he has been able to maintain that start. That would be a big part of that as well. So like all these things you can point to and say, this could happen, this could happen, this can happen. But it's going to have to take the exact right set of circumstances. And it's going to be Bobby Petrino turning this team's fortunes around. And that still feels very, very far off for me.
Well, I'm going to ask you this, because obviously if you ask Razorback fans this question, hey, who do you want to be the head coach of Arkansas? They're going to say Nick Saban. You know, that's just like what, you know, it's just dumb stuff. Yeah. But for you, outside perspective, what coaches out there, realistic coaches out there, is there one that you're like, oh, this makes sense? Or is there a few coaches? I know the Rhett Lashley angle has always been thrown out there, but just for you, who is realistically that could fit, that could be successful at a place like Arkansas that's out there right now?
I would love Rhett Lashley. I think that'd be one of those guys that if you were able to get him on board, it would feel kind of like Bielema in that sense of what it means to get a guy to leave that place. Because let's remember, SMU in this day and age of college football is just in a different spot. And when they're able to get to the ACC championship, get to the college football playoff year one, that just kind of changes what you think a team is capable of. And sometimes you look at that market and go, why would I leave this for a job wherein I'm going to have to play like 7 top 25 opponents on a yearly basis at Arkansas? So I do think that would be a really, really tough get, but it would be a huge big time get if he's willing to come back to the state of Arkansas. The guy that I've had circled for a while, and since last year, like middle of last year, Alex Golesh. I think Alex Golesh is a whale of a coach. I love the job that he has done at USF. And I know that people were looking at what he did against Florida this year as like he's arrived, he's going to get bigger jobs type of moment for him. But I think people forget so much, because that program has had moments of relevance in recent history, that they were 4-29 in the 3 years before he was hired. And he has steadily built them up year after year. And they could be going to the college football playoff this year. Also, just another little wrinkle for the Alex Golesh thing, which has a lot of different elements to it. Like, he's from the Josh Heupel offensive tree. Like he's had a lot of offensive success, and like it comes from a system that has had proven success in the SEC, which is an important part of this. And you'd be getting a play caller with him. His wife is from the state of Arkansas. Not only that, his wife goes back to Arkansas once a month and does consulting for nursing homes. Now, I'm just saying, in this day and age wherein, you know, people talk about all the different things that it takes for a job to happen, for everybody to kind of sign off on it, for a guy to want a job, I don't know that he would look at the job in the way that other people would that are going to be rumored for this. Obviously, Lashley has the local connection as well, but having ties to that state and knowing that the people in your background, in your orbit, very much call that place home, I think that matters. And I think it's honestly like what made the appeal of Sam Pittman just so inviting and so intoxicating for people that aren't even from Arkansas, was to see how much it meant to him to be able to give what he gave to that state in the first part of his tenure.
Well, I mentioned a little bit about Sam Pittman, but since you brought it up, I'm curious everyone's thoughts on this. Where did it go wrong with Pittman? It's not that one thing that everybody said when anytime you asked about Sam Pittman, I love the guy. I love him as a man. I love to have a beer with the guy. Like, he was just so likable, and I think even Razorback fans felt the same way. It's like, yeah, you root for the guy. You really want him to succeed, but where did it all go wrong with Pittman? Because he came in. Went 3-7 in that COVID year, his first time ever, which was impressive considering where Arkansas was previously. Goes 9-4, flying high. Just how did it go so wrong for Pittman, who seemed like it may have been set up for some success in the beginning of his tenure?
John, the best way I can answer this, and because I've thought about this a lot, like I've had Sam Pittman on my show once a year during his time at Arkansas, and quite simply, he's just one of my favorite people that I've ever been able to meet in this business. And he's just everything that you think he is. And that's the part about Sam Pittman that people love. And it's what made it so easy to root for him when he had the 2021 he did. Even some of the wins that he was getting in 2020. Like, go back to that Mississippi State win and what that meant to that program at that time, even with 6 people in attendance for that game. Like, it mattered so much. But what I think we saw play out with Sam Pittman, there are certain coaches that are built to rebuild, and there are certain coaches that are built to build. And that sounds a little bit redundant. Sam Pittman was the former. Sam Pittman was a guy that was able to come in and change the culture and get people to buy into his vision. Year after year, sustaining success in the way that he was going to need to in the Southeastern Conference with the level of competition that he was facing, he was going to need to check a ton of boxes. He was going to need to get his quarterback situation right on a yearly basis. He was going to need to nail that offensive line, which has obviously been a huge area of focus for Arkansas, not just in the Pittman era, but before that. And you needed to have every single one of these assistant hires work out. And a lot of them did. But the problem is that once you started to see that roster turnover in the portal era, it was bad. It was really bad. Like, I don't think people realize the amount of roster turnover that Arkansas has had without coaching changes, without coordinator changes. Like, that just doesn't happen. And so you could say, well, that comes back to the head coach in certain ways, and he wasn't doing this in order to keep people on board. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, but that's also part of the job. And I don't think he did that at a high enough level. I think he would admit that he didn't do that at a high enough level. How much of those factors were in his control? How much of those were outside of it? He knows that better than I do. You know that better than I do. But to me, that's where this all fell apart. And you can't have that type of turnover in this day and age and sustain success.
Well, last one for us to get out of here, Connor. I know it's something that has been upsetting to Razorback fans, and I even talked to other media members too. They couldn't believe it. You know, you had Hunter Yurchek, the athletic director, talk about, hey, but you can't win a championship at Arkansas and in football, which fans did not want to hear that, at least not set up to. And then you hear him talk about Sam Pittman was not financially set up to succeed at Arkansas, and it's just, I get the craziness of college athletics and money, NIL, all that, but you just don't want to hear that from your AD. You don't want to hear that if you're a fan. But for you, when you look at the Arkansas job and saying if they go with an Alex Golish or, you know, whoever that you're thinking, can they win at a high level at Arkansas? If like, what's it take for them to get to that point? Can they be set up to where in this modern era of college football, they can win at a high level? Maybe not to the Georgias and Texases, but they can at least compete in this conference.
That sucked. That sucked, man. Like that to me, I would be dry heaving hearing that as a fan. And I understand that there is a certain level of honesty that's kind of refreshing to hear sometimes when you hear an athletic director come out and say that. And you're like, wait a minute, he's saying what a lot of people have seen play out over the course of the last several years, even beyond that. That still sucks. And to me, if that's not your goal, you're in the wrong business. Like, going to a different conference. That's just not the way that this is supposed to go. And you're seeing Vanderbilt now finally take football seriously after they didn't have a major stadium renovation since the early 1980s. Like, there are programs that have had that approach. And where has it gotten them? That to me would be the thing I would come back to, because if you lean into that, you get apathy. Apathy is the worst thing. We talked about that this offseason and how much that is just the exact scenario you want to avoid. And when you give a message like that to your fan base, you are breeding apathy. That's dangerous. Now, what I will say, and this is going to sound a little bit CJ Stroud, Caleb Williams-ish, so I don't intend to say that. I'm acknowledging that, okay? I am coming to you as an Indiana graduate who thought there is no way on God's green earth that they will get people to care about football in that program the way that they do right now. And it took the right coach. It took the right coach. It took the right schedule too. I mean, like I'll call it like it is. The schedule breaks. Arkansas is not getting those schedule breaks. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like a year like that is realistic. But it did all start with the head coach. And they are making those financial commitments in ways that they have not in years past. And all of a sudden you're looking up and going, well, would he leave for this job? Would he leave for this job? Well, no, he's kind of got all of these things working now in ways that the program didn't 2 years ago. So things in this day and age, as distant as it might feel right now for Arkansas, especially when you hear an athletic director come out and say comments that suck, it's not that far off. It's never as far off as we truly think it is in this day and age of college football. And I do have hope that with a fan base that gives a crap the way that they do, with people behind the scenes that can finance the way that Arkansas does, I do believe that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It takes getting the hire right.
I think Razorback fans are good to hear that. They may vote for you to be the athletic director because you give them some belief at least to get involved. But it's going to be a fascinating, 2-3 months here at Arkansas because we still got games to play. It's like not even like there's still games to be played and over half the season left, but it should be fascinating. But a guy that knows all about it when it comes to SEC football, it's Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South. As always, Connor, appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the season, man. I know we'll be catching up with you soon whenever Arkansas gets a head coach, whenever that may be.
Thanks, man. Anytime.
All right, that was Connor O'Gara joining us. Appreciate him and appreciate all of you tuning in to Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to like and subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas, and be sure to come out to Goat Lab Red again tonight, 6 p.m., 25-cent wings. You're not going to beat that deal. So we're going to have a lot of fun talking about the Razorback basketball team and getting ready for prime time at the Palace. So again, starting at 6 o'clock, 1214 North Garland Avenue. Can't wait to see all of you out there. That'll do it for us. For Curtis Wilkerson, Andrew Ellis, and intern Cameron, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel next Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you then.